everybody, and welcome to Between the Pages. Tonight is a special edition. We were not with you guys last Thursday. I had to reschedule Donna Barron with us, who was going to be with us last Thursday. I had to reschedule due to an unexpected emergency within my family called a sick husband, and so she was kind enough to reschedule and come in tonight. And so I'm excited that we're going to have her with us tonight. And this is a special edition because we're also not going to have Between the Pages on this Thursday night, because this Thursday night I will be celebrating 25 years of happy marriage and not killing my husband. It's our wedding anniversary. So we're going to be, like I said, celebrating 25 years. So we will not be with you guys this Thursday night, but we will be back next Thursday night, back at our regular time at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here between the Southern Pen Bookshop's Facebook page. Our guest author next week is going to be Georgiana Fields. She is a paranormal romance author, and she has got five books, maybe 6 out now. It's called the Crimson series. Georgiana won for first novel category last year for the Georgia Independent Author of the Year for her first book in the Crimson series, Crimson series. And this year she was a finalist in the romance section category with one of the books from her latest book from the Crimson series, which was Crimson Haze. So we're excited that Georgiana is going to be joining us next Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on our Facebook page at the Southern Pen Bookshop Facebook page. Also, don't forget, next Wednesday we are going to be doing our virtual book trivia night. So we're going to have our virtual book trivia night next Wednesday. That is hosted through Zoom, so you'll have to. We'll have the Zoom link posted up on under our events on our Facebook page. It'll also be up on our website. And if you'd like to subscribe to our newsletter, you can definitely do that through our website at southernpenbookshop.com, and we'll email you the link. And since it's so close to Halloween, the trivia theme for next week is going to be horror fiction and science fiction and fantasy fiction. So if you're an avid reader in any of those categories, that's going to be right up your alley. So all the questions are going to come from those categories. Our live Christmas sale, we have not been doing any of our live sales this month because we're getting ready. We have been busy with our little elves, beginning to gather up a lot of great Christmas merchandise for you to be able to find the great gifts that you're going to need for that person on your Christmas list. Our live Christmas sale is going to be November the 10th. That's on a Tuesday. It will be here on our Facebook page at 7:30 p.m. Maggie Collins with Tangle Creek Design is going to be with us. She's going to be highlighting a lot of her holiday home decor. We're also going to be featuring a lot of the Christmas and holiday themed books that we have in our bookshop. And also we have a lot of great Christmas related merchandise that we're going to present that night too. So definitely be prepared to tune in with us on November the 10th. That's a Tuesday night for our live Christmas sale. Also, I just mentioned the trivia night. Our trivia question for tonight, and since we get you guys ready for the Halloween theme of our book trivia for next week, is Rob Reiner directed which movie based on the Stephen King novella The Body? Rob Reiner directed which movie based on the Stephen King novella The Body? If you know the answer to this, just put it in comments. We have Mary with us tonight. She's working on the back side of the show. She's right here in my ear. Now, Mary will be with us in person next week to welcome Georgiana on the show. But definitely, if you know the answer to this week's trivia question, just put it in comments. Also, let Mary know that you're here. Just say hello, Mary, in comments. And we always love it when you flip the page and let other folks know about our show. And all you got to do is click that one little magic button under our post to flip the page to let other folks get to see our interview tonight. So, right along. Come on, sweet cakes. Alrighty. I am very, very excited to have Donna come and join us on the show. Donna is the daughter to Roy Faulkner, who was the last master carver to work on the etching that is the Confederate memorial on the side of Stone Mountain. This particular etching has been in the news a lot in the past few years because of the controversy of the etching itself and what it commemorates. But what we're going to bring to you tonight is the human side of this etching, and let you meet the daughter of the man who actually worked on this etching, and get to know some more of the history behind it. Donna has been an author with the Southern Pen Bookshop ever since we opened back about 2.5 years ago, and it's just an honor to have her be able to take some time out of her very busy schedule, because she is extremely busy. She travels all over the state of Georgia, all over the South, talking to groups about her dad's story about being the man who carved Stone Mountain. And so we're really happy to have her with us. So Donna, if you want to come on up and join us. And Donna brought her husband with us tonight too. We were trying to figure out how to get him in the frame, but I have like such a short space. But welcome, and we are so glad that you were able to join us. You have been a busy, busy lady.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm glad to. You just got through traveling to Augusta.
Ron and I just celebrated our 28th wedding anniversary in Augusta with my former employer, Lori and Matt, and we had a good time, had dinner, and I also gave a presentation to one of the United Daughters of the Confederacy chapters.
Oh, cool. Well, congratulations on 28 years. As I say, 28 years of not killing each other. So, so congratulations on 28 years of being married. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment nowadays to say you've been married that long. But the thing is it goes by so fast.
It does.
It's hard to believe that I'm coming up this Thursday. It's 25 years for Bruce and I. So it's just like, wow.
Well, happy early wedding anniversary to you.
Oh, thank you. But anyway, well, we are so tickled that you're here, and I wanted to kind of bring up some pictures. I always love to bring up pictures of my guests. And now you and your husband have just started a hobby, and that is RVing. So tell us about this. Y'all just bought your first camper. What did you get?
A Leprechaun Coachman 2019. We went Memorial Day weekend. And I told Ronnie we either do it or forget it. So we did it.
So it's have kind of kicked around an idea through the years of, hey, we kind of like to do this. And
6 years we've been looking, and we never made a decision until I just said it's either now or never.
Well, so tell me about the inaugural trip. Whenever you get a new vehicle, you've got to do that inaugural trip to kind of christen it and get it broke in. What was y'all's first camping trip with the new RV?
Pine View RV outside of Athens.
Georgia?
Yes.
Wow, y'all traveled a long way, didn't you? Y'all, folks, they live in Snellville, Georgia, okay? I mean, y'all had to pack about 5 lunches to get there, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, if anything went wrong, we could go home real quick.
And that makes sense. That makes really good sense. So was there any first time experiences or uh-ohs of setting up this RV?
Well, let's see. The first time I was trying to make potato salad and get the potatoes boiled, the eggs boiled, and I said, well, I'm going to take a shortcut. So lo and behold, I did something really stupid. I put eggs in a microwave. Thinking if they're in water, they're safe. The next thing I know, I had my back turned toward the microwave door, and it went ka-plonk and hit me in the back.
Oh no, the door opened?
Yes.
Oh my word. So you had like egg explosion all on the inside of the camper.
Yes.
So are you still finding egg particles?
No, I think I got it all.
I gotta tell you a funny story. You talking about microwaves? I host Girls Weekend, one weekend out of the month. There's a couple of ladies in the family, and that it's a total of 5 of us, and we all get group here at the house. And the first month that I hosted, because we started binge watching Outlander, because we're all huge Outlander fans. And the first time that I hosted, one of the ladies had never been to my house before. So she comes in, and everybody predetermines what they're going to bring, because we cook here, and everybody predetermines who's going to bring what or who's going to do what. And she comes in with the snacks, and she goes, "I brought microwave popcorn." And I looked at her and I says, "That's great. I don't have a microwave." And she goes, "This is the 21st century. What do you mean you don't have a microwave?" I was almost like telling her I had to go out. She had to go out in the backyard to the outhouse, you know. She thought I'd gone back into the dark ages, and I was like, "I haven't had a microwave." Well, no, it wasn't me. It was Bruce. Bruce piped up and says, "Oh, we haven't had a microwave in years. The last one broke, and she never bought another one." And I says, "I hate the counter space it takes."
Yes.
So you're one up. You have a microwave in your RV, so you are high class compared to my little kitchen. So what are some other trips that you guys have got on the horizon with the RV?
Well, we had 2 trips in Athens. We had a 4th of July with our family coming, so it was Ron and myself, my daughter Jessica, and my son Peter and his girlfriend Allie, and Ron's brother Frank. So our camper sleeps 8.
Okay.
Well, 7 comfortably. And so we invited everybody, and they came staggered, so it wasn't overloaded. But we had a good time.
Yeah. And you're right. It's just so much fun to get back out in nature and just kind of get away from all the hum and the buzz of everyday life, and just kind of get regrouped and recentered. So,
well, when we purchased our camper, we found out from the salesman that they had like 100 sales that month, and they couldn't even keep inventory.
Right, and y'all bought the camper
May Memorial Day weekend
this year.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one thing. Of course, with the COVID, that we've gone. A lot of people have gone back to kind of a traditional way of living, which is the traditional way is doing the road trips and going out and doing the camping. And one thing too is that has really surprised me is people have gotten back into canning and pickling. Ball company that makes the two-parted lids are out, and you cannot keep up with the demand of the centerpiece that has the rubber gasket that seals the jar.
Yes.
And I've noticed in the grocery store the pickling section is wiped clean.
Wow.
So it's really, as much as COVID has been a very, very serious thing, and it's been a huge impact on our lives, I think it's kind of made us take a step back and regroup and recenter and refocus on the important things of life.
Yes, a little more simplicity.
Yeah, simplicity goes a long way. Really, really does. Now, you shared a lot of pictures with me getting ready this week, and I always love it when my authors give me a lot of great pictures. And there was one. This one right here, I love this picture right here. You guys make a handsome couple. Y'all compliment each other so well, and you always, I wish I could take pictures as pretty as you do.
Oh,
you do beautiful pictures. But tell us about this dapper looking couple right here with an airplane in the background.
That's at Peachtree City Airport. We always attend the World War II Heritage Days, and on that Saturday evening they have a hangar dance. And so we were taking pictures around all the different airplanes, and up for that evening they have a big orchestra band and provide a spread of food and drinks, and it's just a fun evening. course, we didn't get to go this year. You know why?
Yeah, that's that nasty little C word. But now I need you to tell me, is he a good dancer?
He's the best dancer.
And does he do both the fast and the slow dance, or?
Yes, he loves to twirl me so much. I get tired of him flipping me so much.
Oh, but you know what? You're blessed to have a husband that likes to dance, because a lot of ladies like to dance and they don't have the husbands that like to do it. Or if they do, you just do the stand in place, kind of move around like a broom in a wash cycle, you know.
Well, actually, he used to go dancing with his 2 younger sisters. They couldn't go out dancing unless he went with them, so they taught him how to dance.
Okay. Now, is there any particular favorite dance that he does, like, you know, any of the ballroom or waltzes or things like that?
Well, we used to go to a textile mill here in Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
One of the churches had a ministry providing dances.
Mm-hmm.
So we learned the waltz and the foxtrot and a couple other dances. We didn't do well, but we kept at it.
Well, I tell you what, you know, like I said, you're so blessed to have somebody who is talented, and we're getting a low battery signal on our computer, so y'all just bear with me. I gotta make sure that I am connected, or else we're gonna be sunk. So hold on one moment. All right, Betsy, let's close right here, and let's go right there, and. Okay, good. All right, hopefully that, sometimes it's just you got to make sure we're connected in the power outlet. So hopefully we won't see that little nasty gram come up again on our screen. All righty, but that is so cool that you guys are, you know, spend a lot of, it sounds like y'all have a lot of fun together. And talking about fun together, this picture right here is just the epitome of fun. And this is a group of you guys. So kind of tell me about this one.
Well, that one's in Loganville. Ron and our whole group, we go bowling, and that was before Daddy passed away. And we would take him, and he loved watching us, and he would laugh, and we'd get a pitcher of Coke and a pizza, and he would just chomp down that and enjoy being there with us. So.
Yeah. And that's one thing I noticed, and you have such a fun adventure for life. I mean, you always seem like you're always having a good time at whatever you're doing, because you've done a couple of book signings at the shop, and you always look like you're having a great time. But when I was looking at the pictures you sent me of your dad was always smiling. He always looked like he was just always in a good mood. Now, is that true, or is that was just a camera?
No, that was him, and if he wanted to communicate with you, he would always do the thumbs up.
I got you. And now you said when did he pass away?
September 2016.
So he's only been gone about 4 years then.
Yes.
You were really close with your dad, because you actually studied secretarial services and was working for Georgia Department of Labor for a while, and then that kind of played out, and you wound up going to work with your dad.
Yes, Daddy put me through DeKalb Area Technical School, and I achieved a degree called Secretarial Science. I applied for a job with the Labor Department and worked for the state of Georgia for 5 years. And then from there I went to Florida, where he had already moved. And then I worked for Hawaiian Tropic Santana Oils and Lotions down there. Yes.
Wow.
So then he finally moved back to Georgia, and I moved back to Georgia. And in the meantime, Dwayne Pankratz was a veterinarian out of South Dakota, and he was following the life of Gutzon Borglum, who was the first sculptor at Stone Mountain. And he found out the history and knew that Daddy came in 1963. And he wanted to find out more about Daddy's work on the carving.
Right.
So we met him, and he became a financial backer, and we opened a museum right there on Memorial Drive in DeKalb County.
Yeah, right. So, and I think it was, you kind of started help. You used your secretarial, and you're a highly organized. I wish I could be as well as organized as you are. You are extremely organized, but you started using those skills to kind of organize his paperwork and documentations and everything of his work, and which.
Yes, I had to do an inventory of all of his memorabilia.
Mm-hmm.
I conducted inventory for our gift shop. I handled payroll. I answered the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I ordered the gift shop merchandise,
Mm-hmm.
and I gave tours.
Oh wow! So you just wore a lot of hats then.
Yes.
Now you said you give tours. What were the tours? Did that include?
In the museum.
In the museum.
Yes, we had several rooms throughout the museum, and I had an antebellum dress made specifically for me to wear during my tours. And so that just kind of gave it more character. So
Mm-hmm.
I would go around with school groups, church groups,
Mm-hmm.
and we would give tours throughout the museum
Mm-hmm.
for about that 2 years that we had the museum. And then the financial backer, Dwayne Pankratz, filed bankruptcy, and so we had to close the museum.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I kind of remember that museum.
Yeah.
You know, because Stone Mountain used to be one of my playgrounds. I used to love to go and do the laser light show and things like that. That was kind of like the fun thing to do. And I'm sorry. And I kind of remember the museum being there. Now, how many kids do you guys have?
Ron and I have two. Jessica. Jessica's 32. Peter's soon to be 27.
And where were you guys in this picture?
We own a timeshare, Westgate Lakes in Orlando, since 1995. So we had every other year for a while, and then we recently purchased every year. So now we have vacation every year.
So when y'all go to Orlando, I gotta ask, when y'all go to Orlando, is the Magic Kingdom and seeing Mickey one of the stops on y'all, or what does your family do when y'all go to Orlando?
We hang out by the pool, we go out and eat, we cut up and just have fun. I mean, about every other year, Peter and Jessica and Frank will go to Universal or something, but Ron and I decided that we can't handle the roller coasters anymore. So we just stay in. We sunbathe and enjoy the entertainment by the pool because there's usually a DJ.
Right. So y'all just kind of chill out. And I tell you, I have a cousin who has a timeshare, and I being able to go with them because, I mean, that's like a home away from home because most of the time it's like a 2 or 3 bedroom condo with a full kitchen, and there's a big difference, and you'll probably agree with this with the RV too. There is a big difference between vacation cooking and cooking at home.
Oh yes. It tastes better for some reason.
Yeah, and for some reason it's a lot more fun. You're not like, oh God, I'm sitting here washing dishes for the 15th time today,
Well, we always like to prepare a low country boil.
Ooh.
So that's kind of the famous meal that we do every time we go to Florida now.
Now, you guys have a tradition, talking about food. Now, you have a tradition in your family because you guys love oysters. So tell me about this.
Well, when my dad was in Florida and then I moved down there, he introduced me to eating oysters on the half shell. And so whenever we were down there, we would eat buckets and buckets of oysters. Of course, when we were up in Stone Mountain, there was a small restaurant called Caravans. And we would go in there and eat oysters after we left the museum for the day. So, yes, I love oysters. I could eat at least 3 dozen by myself.
Oh, wow. Well, you are my hero. I have tried, my husband and I both have tried oysters. We've tried them on the half shell, we've tried them steamed, and nope, we just can't. That's just like either you like it or you don't type thing.
That's right. That's right.
Now, so kind of shifting gears, because I really, really want to talk a lot about, before we shift gears, you're really good friends with another couple that have a book in our bookshop that is, I'm really tickled that we have the book. and it's Julie and Rick Clark, and they were on the show last month.
Yes.
You guys are pretty good friends. Y'all do a lot together, don't you?
Yeah, I became a member of the Scribblers Christian Writers Club because Luann Scrogan, who I used to go to church with, I had ran into her at one of our other members' daughter's wedding, and she told me about what she'd been doing, and she invited me to come, and so I showed up one day, and I loved being around the people. So we had already written our book, and so we began doing different events with the Scribblers, and I met Rick and Julie there, and I learned that their book was semi-related to my book because it was about the Civil War. Their ancestor was Dr. Dalvini and his daughter Paula Campbell. She was a nurse during the Atlanta campaign.
Yes, so. Yes. I really enjoyed having them on the show because it was just so interesting to hear, about the history behind Paula and her dad. And the thing is there's a huge difference from getting to sit down to talk to somebody like you or somebody like Rick and Julie and learn history, because you learn it kind of almost from a first person perspective, an actual real life person who has the knowledge. It's not been condensed down to the pages of a history book or a textbook. Right. And that's the reason why I always kind of encourage the young people in my family to get out and talk with a lot of the older people, because they're living history. Don't depend on reading something in between the pages of the book, and definitely don't always depend on reading everything you'll read on Google and Wikipedia. Is not always 100% reliable. Go and talk to people who have actually lived and experienced it.
Right.
And so it was really exciting to have them, and that's the reason why I'm really tickled. Your book has been one of our best sellers in shop because a lot of people have an interest in this part of the history. But so shifting gears a little bit, I do want to talk a good bit about your dad. Now, and this is a picture of your dad and mom.
Mother and Daddy lived in the city of Ormond Beach, and that was right on the beach side on a little pavilion. And I said, well, let's go and see the beach. And this is after they had already left Florida and came to live with us. So we went back down to Florida. So yeah, I love that picture.
That's a good picture of them. And I love this next picture that's coming up. And it's a picture of you and your dad. It just really shows, and I'm sorry I lost my mouse. Let me find it. She has disappeared on me. There we go. I love this picture of you and your dad, because I think it just really shows how close you two are.
Well, that was another bowling alley. So Daddy, he just loved being around people. He didn't like sitting at home, and wherever we went, we took him as long as we could, and he enjoyed it. He didn't complain.
Yeah.
Or at least he didn't tell us.
but let's kind of get into the history of the life of your dad and how he got to be the last master carver on the carving that's on the Confederate Memorial on Stone Mountain. He really grew up in Porterdale, right?
Right.
And he was just kind of a simple, small town country boy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he had a paper route, and then as he got older, he worked in different places. He was a tool and die maker. He was a welder. He was a steeplejack. He wasn't afraid of heights. And that's really what landed him the opportunity to be at Stone Mountain Park.
Right, because he wasn't like an artist or, a sculptor or anything like that. I mean, he was more of a tradesman. And but what got him from Porterdale, Georgia, to standing on a scaffold on the side of a huge rock of granite called Stone Mountain, working on this carving? How did that travel happen?
Well, when Mother and Daddy moved from Atlanta, Georgia to Covington, Daddy got a job with Lithonia Lighting.
Yeah.
There was a local store, J.M. Potts and Son, that all of the gentlemen would stop and get their cigarettes and gas. We had a gentleman by the name of George Wablin, who was affiliated with the Stone Mountain Memorial Carving. So back in 1958, the Stone Mountain Memorial Association was formed after the state of Georgia bought the mountain and the surrounding acreage from the Venable family, and they were going to resume the carving.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing they had to do was get up on the carving.
Mm-hmm.
So Daddy's job was to erect a 400-foot shaft that would take the elevator up to the carving site.
Mm-hmm.
And because he was a tool and die maker and a welder, and he wasn't afraid of heights, and he's worked with steel, George Wablin asked him if he would be interested in helping them do that. So he would begin working on the weekends and still hold his own job during the week with
Oh, so this was kind of like a sideline job for him.
In the beginning, yes.
So how old were you kids when he started doing this?
I was about 12 years old because Daddy was about 33.
Right. Okay. And so he's considered the last master carver on the etching. Now, the etching, is it completed as it stands today, or was there more that was needed to be added to it?
No, it's completed because it went through different versions.
Mm-hmm.
Gutzon Borglum had the vision of a whole Calvary.
Uh-huh.
And then it got downsized through Augustus Lukeman's version, and then Walker Hancock came in and used something similar to Lukeman's version, but he wanted the horses to look like they were riding into the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So the horses' legs and hoofs would not be carved. That was planned.
So that was planned for not the full body of the horse to be there then. Because that's one of the things, you know, I talked about a little bit. One of the things that I always loved about going to the laser show when Stone Mountain first started having the laser show was when the lasers would bring the horses to life and would start galloping. I mean, and even now the hair is just raising up on my arm when I would think about that, because, you know, you had Elvis in the background singing, and, and it just, you know, I know that, you know, a lot of people have a lot of strong emotional opinions and feelings about this particular etching, but for me, when I saw that, it was a source of Southern pride. You know, it wasn't. It was a source of Southern heritage. You know, that you know, the South is my home. You know, and I'm glad and I'm proud that I speak with a drawl and I say y'all and I talk in metaphors. You know, if you're not Southern, you know, you won't understand that we don't say anything straight out. We're gonna tell it to you in a metaphor, and you got to figure it out. And you know, and when that would happen, when that etching would come alive with those horses galloping, you know, that's what that etching. And to today, that's what that etching means to me. Is it's who I am. You know, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. It's who I am. You know, and I'm sorry, there's not any civilization that has ever come through time that hasn't had times in their periods of history that they just didn't get some things right. You know.
Yeah.
Perfect, unblemished history.
That's
and
right.
what you have to do is learn to learn from it and move forward respectful. So, but we have a question. What's our question? Who's the most famous person either you or your father has met in relation to the work on Stone Mountain?
Well, Daddy had Jimmy Carter up there.
Up on the mountain?
Yes, he went up on the carving.
This had to be the young Jimmy Carter, right?
Well, he was governor at that time.
Okay, I was about to ask, was it before he became president, but it was when he was governor? Wow. Who else? Is there been anybody else?
There was an opera singer. I don't recall her name, and Forrest Tucker came to visit, and there was a lot of famous people that visited the carving, and there was a guest register. Every time somebody came up on the carving, they signed the guest register.
Oh, okay.
I wished I had it, but I don't.
Oh, wow. I bet you that would be, yeah, you're right. Having that would be pretty cool. Now, you were talking about the size of and this is the cover for the book. Let's talk about your book cover. Because your book cover, and while you're talking about this, I've got to work on this error message I'm getting on the computer, on the iPad. Tell us about the different images on the book cover.
Well, to your far top left is a picture of Daddy when he was in the Marine Corps. Also, to your far right is Daddy taking measurements and marking them on the carving. The lower left is Daddy in a balsam chair with a helmet on, which is probably the one and only time you see him in a very safe environment.
Talking about that, how did your mama feel about that? I mean, when your daddy said, I'm going to be working on the side of that mountain, and I'm going to be, so many up in the air with pretty much a blowtorch carving on this, what did your mama say?
Well, Mother was not happy by no means, and she almost threatened to leave him and told him that, she didn't want him working on the carving, and he just turned around and told her, honey, just deal with it whatever way you can, because I'm going to do it.
So that would be a reverse conversation between me and my husband. So I guess your mama found a way to deal with it, right?
Well, she supported Daddy. She made sure he had a very good breakfast before he went to work. She cooked him a couple of eggs and biscuits, homemade biscuits.
Oh, wow.
Sausage and grits. And then she made him a lunch. So she was there for him.
Yeah.
And she might not have liked the job. She might have been, overwhelmed with, the worrying, but she supported me.
Yeah. And that's a true testament of what makes a marriage work, is even though when you don't always 100% agree with what the other spouse is doing, you're still going to be there to offer that love and that support and pack them a good lunch so they're well fed, right? Now, this is a picture of you at an event where you were promoting your the book.
Yes. This particular event, I met my second cousin on Daddy's side of the family down in Gray, Georgia, and I presented the program to his SEV camp, and they took a picture of me standing in front of the banner, and I said, wow, that's a good promo.
It really is, and actually we used this picture a lot to promote your book with the Bookshop when you first came to us.
And so thank you, Chris.
Now, and I was able to, and you sent me some pictures, but I was also able to find some pictures. Tell us about this particular picture.
Well, that is my brother's wife, Joy, and that was his girlfriend at the time. That was about the age I was when Daddy was still working on the mountain. I mean, he started in '63, and so that's he was into it a couple of years, I think.
Now, were y'all, is the backdrop, is that the mountain that y'all are standing in front of, or?
That's a Christmas tree, I believe.
Oh, okay. All right, that's the Christmas tree.
Yeah, every season, Daddy would bring an evergreen up there, hang up, all the lights and the garland, and he would have the word Silent Night up there.
Oh, wow. That is so cool. Did he, you said he would would he go out and find a cedar or evergreen and cut it down?
Well, I don't know that he did that personally, but he made it happen.
And I loved this picture because it really gives you a perspective of how, because when you're standing on the ground and you're looking at the etching, you really, it's kind of a forced perspective in the fact that you don't get the true sensation of actually how huge that carving is. And I love this picture because it actually shows, whose face is this one?
That's Robert E. Lee.
Right, and it just shows how big.
Well, on Daddy's master model that he kept in a canvas building below, for every inch on the master model was a foot on the mountain. So he would use his plumb line and get his measurements, and he would take them up on the mountain, use a paintbrush, and put his paint in an empty Maxwell coffee can, and he would mark his measurements, the depth, the height, the width, and then he would know how much he would have to go into the granite to get that measurement.
Yeah.
With the torch.
Yeah. So, and it's just, now is this your dad here that's working on it?
Yes.
So that is actually your dad right there, just, wow. It's probably a good thing your mom couldn't see those pictures back then, right?
Oh, she saw them.
and this is him using the torch that they use. And I remember reading an article when I was doing my research and everything for tonight, that even though he was not an artist, he was so exact and so proficient in using this torch that's the reason why he was able to get the etching as well as he did.
Well, he designed the torch.
Oh, he designed that?
He did. If you go over in the quarry on the backside of Stone Mountain, they would have equipment over there they would remove large pieces of granite, for roads and buildings and things like that. So he would talk to him and ask him how could I put this same concept into a handheld instrument? And he told him you couldn't.
And you don't tell a man he can't do something.
No. Remember, he's born in May and he's a Taurus.
Yeah.
So he just kept working with different companies and doing his own research, and he found that he could put that same power into an 8-foot cylinder, feeding kerosene, oxygen, and water into it. And so he designed the 8-foot and then a smaller 3 to 4 foot torch, so he could do the hairlines and the reins and all on the carving.
Right. And again, you really, in this picture, you get such a true perspective of how huge that carving is.
Yes.
Because he just looks like a little miniature person, yeah.
Well, when I talk to school children about, your nose is about 2 inches long, well, on the feet.
Yeah.
So it's a big difference.
And here's another picture of him up on the etching. Now, and I'm gonna kind of, I've kind of touched on it a little bit, but alive today, and with all the controversy that is around this particular etching, what do you think his words or perspective or point of view would be on it?
Well, I couldn't repeat what he would say. Because he was living when there was first controversy about what was the boy in Charlottesville or something, that had the Confederate flag. I think he was still alive when that took place. And he would see the visions on the TV, and I know he couldn't hear that well, but he could still interpret what was going on.
Right.
He would not be happy. He wasn't even happy when Stone Mountain Park turned into more of an entertainment museum, amusement park.
Yeah.
So he was unhappy about that.
Right. But and here's I love this picture of him.
That picture was taken, of course, at Stone Mountain Park. We used that same picture when we had our first book signing at our house. And we wanted everybody to come and meet Daddy in the neighborhood and just close friends, and let them get a chance to see the book, and if they wanted to purchase one, he would autograph it for them.
Right. Now, if you guys would like to have a signed book by Donna, you can order the book through our website at southernpennbookshop.com. It's going to be under historical, and it'll be under historical, the nonfiction under historical. You can order the book, and just if you have anybody that you want it made out specific, because it would make a great Christmas present for the historian on your Christmas list. Just put who you would like to have Donna sign the book to, and we can get Donna to sign the books for you and mail them to you. So you can definitely order The Man Who Carved Stone Mountain through our website, southernpennbookshop.com. Just click on the bookstore and go to the historical tab, and you should be able to see the book cover there. And Donna will be more than happy to sign it, and we'll get it in the mail to you. And have it to you in time for Christmas. Now, you brought some stuff with you tonight.
Well, I wanted to.
Okay.
I really wanted to talk about this. Let me see if you can see it this well.
All right.
Daddy became a member of the Sons of Confederate Veterans down in Florida when he lived there.
Mm-hmm.
And because he became a member of the SCV back in February the 23rd, 1979, this paved the pathway for me to become a United Daughter of the Confederacy.
Yes.
So this is my heritage right here. So he became a member and attended some of the camp meetings while he was down there. But this is really precious to me. And his good friend, Greg, he's the one that got him involved in.
You want me to put this over here?
Yeah. Here's a pretty good picture here. I don't know how well you can see these.
Just gotta hold it just a second, give the camera time to, there we go.
You can see Daddy standing up there.
And this is almost like the, kind of like the pictures that we had earlier, but he's actually standing in front of the face at the chin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
And that gives you another perspective of how large the carving is compared to man.
Yeah. So how much of your dad's notes and memorabilia and stuff from him working on that, how much of that do you have? Do you still have everything that was in the museum?
No, we distributed among the family, so all of my siblings have a share of the percentage of the personal items.
Now let me ask you this, because this is something I've talked about before with other people on the show. How are you guys instilling this heritage and this history into the younger generations of your family, to where it doesn't get like somebody is going to be looking through this stuff and go, oh, well, we're going to give it to Goodwill? Because I a lot now when some of my friends have family members to pass away, they'll start going through the stuff and they're like, oh, we'll give this to Goodwill, and I'm looking at them going, no, don't give that to Goodwill.
No, all of my photos that I have, like I said, we distributed the personal belongings of the Stone Mountain collection to all my siblings. My collection of photos will go to the state archives.
Oh, really? So
Yes.
you already know how you're going to be able
Yes,
to
yes.
keep that history going.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I've already talked to them, and I plan to give my copies to them.
Wow.
So it'll be on file. It'll be in a controlled climate, and nothing will happen to the photos.
Wow, that is so cool. So, and was there anything else you brought with you tonight?
Well, I just wanted to show you the torch.
Oh, okay. If you want to stand up and carry that just a little bit closer to the camera, so folks can see
I should
that.
have done that earlier, shouldn't I?
Well, that picture's really dark, so.
Well, this is for show. The torch wasn't used at this degrees, but it just shows you the power behind the torch. This is about 3,000 degrees right there.
You could really roast some marshmallows with that, couldn't you? Did they ever do this while they were up there or anything?
No, but I tell you what, I learned to play checkers.
Uh-huh.
And when the weather wasn't favorable, they would play checkers inside, and he would have these big thermal jet heaters. I don't know what you call them. And they would stay warm, and that's how they,
Not while they're up on the monument, though. They would be down on the ground.
No, there was a canvas building right up there on the catwalk.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really?
So they had to get out of the weather somehow. So they had closed in canvas.
So they would just sit up there and play checkers until the weather got better.
Yeah.
Wow. How many years did it take from the time your daddy started to the time that the etching was finished? How many years did it take him to do that?
Well, if you would ask him, and he was here today, he would say 8 years, 5 months, and 19 days.
It's surprising you didn't have it down to the hours, minutes, and seconds.
Well, it is 3,140 hours.
Oh, wow. Wow. So it took a quite some time to do that.
And there were days, that he couldn't work. And some days when he knew he couldn't go into work, he stayed home and did things around our 10 acres. So we had horses, we had pigs, we had ducks, we had all kinds of critters on 10 acres of land. So he always had something to do.
And he did this, and just he did this as a side job. It never became a full-time job for him.
Yes, it did.
It did eventually. He did eventually leave Los Angeles Lighting to go.
Because see, he was first hired to erect the shaft for the elevator.
Right.
Then when the carving resumed under the superintendent George Weiblam, and they had sculptors that couldn't stand back and look at the work, or got afraid of heights or frustrated, and they left. They didn't really have a carver. And so Daddy had been up there, gotten familiar with everything. He had a good eye for anatomy. We had horses, so he knew all about the horses. And he just fell in love with the mountain.
Yeah, you can tell that it was a work of passion for him. And I'm gonna tell you, kind of looping back around to the weather a little bit. A lot of folks don't realize that granite rock is a lightning rod for lightning. I know. I was on one of my visits. A friend and I were walking through the woods, kind of going up the mountain through the wooded trail. And out of nowhere, it sounded like somebody just shot a shotgun off right beside us, and it was lightning hitting the side of that mountain. So I imagine he probably experienced some of that too.
Well, and he also fell.
Really?
Yes. Howard Williams fell before he did in March of 1966. Daddy was up on the mountain, and he had asked one of his co-workers to nail down one of the boards. And when you nail down a board, it's as secure as your kitchen floor. And so he yelled out to that co-worker, "Is everything secure?" And the guy indicated yes. So Daddy walked out on the plank, and it slipped out from under his feet. And he wasn't even facing the mountain. He was facing away from the carving. So he began falling 5, 10, 15, 20 feet. And in midair, he found himself just turning his body toward the face of the mountain. And when the hoses that feed from the top of the mountain that had the kerosene, oxygen, and water, they were right by his fingers.
Oh, that was
and
a crazy
grabbed
ride
them,
there.
And then he began going up and down like a bungee for several minutes until he stopped. And then that's where his basic training came back into play from being in the Marine Corps. And he climbed back up, and of course the guy that did not do what he said he was
I'd hate to be on the receiving end of that conversation.
So then he climbed back up, and when that guy saw him, he was white as a ghost. And Daddy slapped him around a few times and told him he was fired and to get the you-know-what out of here.
Oh my word, I tell you what, I bet you he said a lot of prayers after he got there saying a lot of unchristian words too.
Well, at the end of the day, he left, and we worshipped at a church named Red Oak on Highway 36. He drove to the church, and he sat in the pew, and he just cried and cried and cried, and he said to the Lord, "You must have been there, because I don't know of any other reason why I'm here today."
Yeah.
And he wasn't a man of many words, and he really wasn't a man that attended church services. But he had a greater faith in the Lord than we all gave him credit for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he did, compose himself and drive on home. And it was hard for him. But, it's just like that saying, when you fall off a bike, if you don't get back on and start riding, you'll never ride again.
Yeah, exactly.
So he got back up on the carving. And then when they were just about finished in 1971, another death came across. Nelson Wilburn was 24 years old. He was married, had a little 3-year-old girl, and his wife was pregnant with her second child. They were moving the beams and scaffolding and cables, and he lost his footing and tumbled off the mountain. But he wasn't so lucky. He was facing the mountain.
Oh my goodness.
So Daddy jumped in the elevator and took it on down, and before it even got to the bottom, he leaped out about 20 plus feet just to go see if there was any remote possibility that Nelson was alive. Of course he wasn't.
Yeah. Wow. Because they didn't have harnesses and things back then that they used.
No.
Oh my word. Well, Donna, I want to again say thank you so much for coming and sharing your dad's story and your story with us. And like I said, I am so proud to have your book in our bookshop, because it's history, and it's history from somebody who was there, witnessed, and lived its point of view and perspective. So again, guys, if you'd like to order a copy of Donna's book and have her sign it, you can just order it through our website, southernpenbookshop.com. And I just click on bookstore and click on the history tab, and you should see a copy of the book cover there. So definitely, if you'd like to get one ordered and have her sign it, we can do that and get it mailed to you.
And may I say one thing?
Sure.
I always call it our book, because Daddy and our neighbor, Kay Jones, she lived about a mile from us on a dirt road right off of 36. Kay Jones and I found each other on Facebook back in 2014, and we began coming together at the house with Daddy. And Daddy calculated the years and the pictures, and Kay and I just did the format and the writing. And I just want to I owe Kay a gratitude of thanks for being my ghostwriter and being a big part of this book, because I wouldn't be here without her.
Yeah, exactly. And you touched on something that I myself had not even realized, was which your dad actually helped with this book.
Yes, he
It's
did.
just not you and Kay. He was
Right.
there with you. So anyway, don't forget, next Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. we're going to have Georgiana Fields with us. Mary is going to be back with us to join with us. We have Miss Mary. She has been a lot better, but she's also, her indie book reviews has gotten her busy. She has really become busy doing the indie book reviews. If you're an indie author and you'd like to have your book reviewed, you can definitely get in touch with Mary through Indie Author Book Reviews, and she'll be happy to talk to you about doing a book review, reading your book and doing a review. She also beta reads, and she is a good marketing guru. So if you're needing some help with your marketing, definitely get a hold of Mary. Don't forget, we are going to have virtual book trivia night next Wednesday night. That's going to be through Zoom. We're going to have Georgiana Fields next Thursday night. Don't forget, our live Christmas sale is coming up on Tuesday, November the 10th. And the answer to our trivia question tonight was Stand By Me. That was the movie that Rob Reiner directed and produced, that was based off of Stephen King's novella. So with that said, I want to say thank you very much for giving us an opportunity to introduce you to your favorite indie author. And as I always say, there's two things a book should never be judged by. One is its cover, and the second is how it's published. So definitely support our indie authors by visiting us at southernpennbookshop.com or our retail location located inside the Monroe Mercantile in downtown Monroe, Georgia. So until next Thursday night, good night, God bless, and I hope you have a safe
Bye-bye.